Today is the 1st of May, 2019. We are in Menands, New York, doing a home interview. My name is Wayne Clarke. And sir, for the record, would you please state your full name and date and place of birth, please?
Joseph Nicpon, and I was born in Albany, New York.
And the date of birth?
December 4th, 1926.
And did you attend school here?
Yes, Albany High School.
Okay. And what year did you graduate?
41.
Okay. And you went in into the Navy
Yes,
shortly after? Okay.
yeah. I enlisted in, right after I was 17, 42.
Okay. And why did you pick the Navy?
Because there was six of us guys used to hang around together.
Mm-hmm.
So we were all under the draft then. So we got together, and I think it was one of the smartest decisions I made in my life.
Mm-hmm.
We decided to enlist in the Navy because we didn't want to be drafted and go into the Army. That's the story on that. So we went down to Washington in the Army, the whole six of us together,
Mm-hmm.
and we enlisted. 4 of us made it, and 2 didn't. And we all came out and cried with those guys, my buddies, that didn't make it.
Oh.
But I says, do what you have to do and try to re-enlist again.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the story on
Okay.
re-enlistment.
And where did you go for your basic training?
Sampson, New York.
Mm-hmm.
And it was supposed to be for 12 weeks. And they cut us to 6 weeks, basic training in Sampson, because they were so desperate to, for
Mm-hmm.
boots to get them over there. So they cut our training to 6 weeks. Then we had a choice of going to Boston to be on the armed guard, back to Norfolk, to the Navy, and Fort Pierce, Florida, amphibious.
Mm-hmm.
So I was drafted to go to Fort Pierce, Florida, and be on the amphibious
Mm-hmm.
ships. So I says, this is great. It was warm, and that was true down there too.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, they put me in charge, get this, they put me in charge. I took 40 guys down, 40 enlisted men,
Uh-huh.
and they put me in charge. I was only 17 years old on a train, and I had to keep track of those guys.
Oh boy.
So that's the story on that. So we got down there, and they cut our training to 6 weeks down there. And then they shipped us back up to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania to
Now,
pick the ship.
now let me just go back a little bit. What kind of training did you have down there?
And we were training on a small boats, and we slept on a beach.
Mm-hmm.
And then we went, in the morning we got on the small boats and went out to sea,
Mm-hmm.
and got used to the waves and everything. Most of the guys got all seasick. I got seasick once, and I never got seasick again.
Now, did you have any weapons training down there?
Yeah, somewhat. Different types of training, tear gas, weapons training, rifles, 50 caliber rifles, and sidearms and rifles.
Okay. And then after that 6 weeks, where did they send you?
They shipped us up to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania
Mm-hmm.
to pick up the ship, LST 741.
Okay.
In fact, when we went on board with our gear to pick the ship up, they were so anxious to get us over there to the Pacific Theater that the welders were still welding the top deck plates on.
Oh.
And we walked out with our duffel bags and looking at that. These guys aren't even done with this ship.
Oh, so you were a plank holder then?
Yeah. And we spent 3 days after waiting for that ship to be completed so we could take over. And in that meantime, we got our ammunition aboard and our food supplies, et cetera, et cetera.
Now, did you have any sort of shakedown cruise at all, or you
Yeah,
just?
we had a then we went down the Missouri River with the ship, was put in charge. We went down the Mississippi River to New Orleans, and then we went on a shakedown cruise to Panama, Panama, Florida, and everything was okay. And then they put me in charge of another. They made a shore patrolman out of there, and I went ashore, kept an eye on the guys so they didn't, when they got leave, shore leave, to keep an eye that they didn't get into trouble.
Make sure everybody got back.
So that was another thing, shore patrol duty.
Okay.
Yeah. And then we got back on the ship. We brought the ship back and to New Orleans, and then we went to Guantanamo Bay. Was our first stop. And then we went through the canal, and we also took over an LCM, towed it all on the back of the ship on a tow line.
Now that was a landing craft medium?
Landing LCM, landing craft mechanized.
Mechanized.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and then the first stop, we got to Tahiti. And that was our first stop getting over there. And then we went to New Caledonia, New Zealand, New Maya, and then that's where we started out from.
What was the food like aboard the ship?
It was good. We got, and that's why I say that's why we got in the Navy. We had 3 square meals a day. We had a bunk to sleep in. We could shower when we took the GIs on board and the Marines and everything. They were washing out of their helmets and everything. Throw the helmet over the side of the ship, get a bucket of water to freshen up in the morning. So that was a good part of being in the Navy. Yeah.
When did you see action for the first time?
First time, let me see.
You can refer to your notes if you like.
The first time was March 14, 1943, the Battle of Bismarck Sea, New Guinea. And then the second battle was September 17 in New Guinea. And we had a dry run to Guadalcanal. And then we went to the Admiralty Islands and invaded Admiralty Islands. We took that. And then Humboldt Bay, Hollandia. We had an invasion of Hollandia, Wadkey Island, and Biak Island. Then we were in the Battle of the Philippine Seas at Palelalo. That was when we had a milk run down to Guadalcanal, and then we got into that battle. And then we did 7 invasions in the Philippines. And the first one was Leyte Island, and that battle consumed, there was 113,000 Japs died in that battle. And then October 23, 28, that was the big one, the Battle of Leyte Gulf, largest naval battle in history. And in that history, and the Jap losses were 2 battleships, 4 aircraft carriers, 9 cruisers, 9 destroyers, and 14 other warships. For a total of 45 Japanese warships were sunk. And then the next battle was Lingayen Gulf and the Subic Bay in the Philippines, and Manila. That's when we got into all these battles in the Philippine Islands. And in the Philippine battles, we Mindanao, Cebu. These battles were all in 45. March, Cebu, the Battle of Palawan, Morotai, and Mindoro and Samar, for a total of 20 invasions. Some were majors, some were milk runs, and some were pretty tough battles we were in.
What would you say was the worst battle you were in?
The worst battle that I was in was the Battle of Leyte Gulf.
Mm-hmm.
That's when we sunk, we shot down a Betty bomber, a twin-engine bomber.
Mm-hmm.
And we were stuck on a sandbar for one day. We got pulled off, unloaded. We were stuck right in front of the battle, the landing strip. And the Navy planes were coming in. It was just like surreal. We were only about 200, 250 yards offshore. And the Navy planes would come in, crash land, some without wheels, some without tails. And they'd clear it in another. I counted 14. And we're just sitting there watching that while the battle was going on and fighting the battle through and going through all that.
Now you mentioned your crew shot down 4 Zeros.
4 Zeros.
Was that in one battle or a couple?
That was different battles in. In fact, I shot down personally when I was on a 20 millimeter, a Jap Zero down. It was coming right at me. It was a suicide. And I shot that down. In fact, my loader froze. And I couldn't get anybody else, but I shot the plane down before it could crash into us.
Wow.
So that was a close call. And then I took part in, shot down the twin-engine Betty bomber too.
Mm-hmm.
So I, out of the 5 planes, I was involved in taking 2 of them down personally.
And one of them was almost collided with your ship.
Collided, right.
Wow.
It was a kamikaze ship.
Yep. How close was he to your ship when you took him down?
I'd say he was down about 75 yards.
Wow.
And he crash landed right in front.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, your crew members, was anyone injured, or did you lose anybody?
We lost 2 men
Uh-huh.
in battles strafing, which was, I was always, afraid of being strafed, but that was, one of my best friends got shot in a strafing run from a Japanese plane.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and we lost 2 crew members.
Okay. Now, what about replacements? Did you get very many?
So we got those 2 guys replaced,
Uh-huh.
and one guy had to be taken off the ship. He just got out of it.
Yeah.
He couldn't do anything anymore.
Mm-hmm.
He was just torn apart inside.
Yeah.
So I do remember that guy. Yeah.
What was it? What was it like when you heard about the dropping of the atomic bombs?
We didn't even. I still remember that. After in fact, was also on a dry run. We were turned into a minesweeper, and we cleared out Manila Bay of minesweeper. But while we were doing that, it was a beautiful sunny day, and we were working top deck, and over the announce, the captain made us a speech that the atom bomb was dropped on Hiroshima. It was about 11 o'clock in the morning, and they says it was declared a holiday. And they stopped working. I don't know what day it was. If it was it was like a Sunday routine. But and we says, what the heck is the atom bomb? We didn't know what. So then captain explained it to us. A ferocious bomb that they developed, and they dropped it on Hiroshima. And we got like a Sunday, a free day, and we got a ration of 1 beer, everybody.
Oh.
Everybody got 1 beer. Yeah. So.
Now, was there a lot of elation and celebration when the war ended?
The war was in, and they dropped that was the best thing that Truman ever did, because our last battle was Iwo Jima, was a 32-day battle, and that was just as bad as the Battle of Leyte. So outside of that, I was in on one of the battles, the Palawan, or was it Mindoro? That was December 15, 1945. We were in a convoy of 10 ships, and 4 ships got on that. 4 LSTs got hit. They took kamikaze hits, and we had to stop, and we rescued 200. LST was credited with rescuing 200 ships, and we took them aboard, and then we didn't get back to base till about 9 o'clock, and everybody, all the ships were anchored in the bay, and they thought we were sunk, and they were all hollering that when they came in, you know, almost nighttime, and we had these 200 survivors on board.
Wow.
So that was one of the Bronze Stars, you know, we got for rescuing those men. So that was on the Battle of Mindoro, and like I say, four ships were sunk by kamikaze, and we picked those survivors up. Yeah.
Now, did you get ashore at all in Japan when the war ended?
No, we
No?
never got shore leave. After 9 months we were over there, we were #1 on the list for shore duty to go to Australia. We never got there because they kept pushing us. And then another battle we were on, we went on a rescue mission February 28, 1945 to Palawan. This is where I was awarded a Philippine Liberation Medal and the Philippine Independence Medal with 2 Bronze Stars. That we did that. But we were going on a rescue mission, and there was 150 Marines. We volunteered, and it was a concentration camp. But the only thing is, with this story, we were getting ready to do that battle, and the Japs found out about that we were coming. We were listening to the radio. We used to listen to the swing radios from Tokyo, and who came on? Tokyo Rose. Like I say, we had such a reputation. She declared on the radio, and I was on watch, the skipper was on the conning tower, that she was going to send a kamikaze to take LST 741 out, right on the radio. And I hollered up to the skipper. He heard it too. Did you hear that, skipper? How did they know? And that was tomorrow morning. We were going to come. So we still did that rescue. Said there was no rescue attempt, but we went on that rescue attempt. But when we got there, they knew we were coming, the Japs. They dug a pit, put the 150 Marines in there, and burnt them to death.
Oh my God.
There was a book written on it, Last Man Out from Palawan. So, but when we see it, we went ashore, we were the rescue mission, and there was a pit, and they were all burnt to death. 12 escaped. They wrote a book about it. There's a book was written about it. But that was on the Palawan massacre that hardly anybody ever knew about.
Okay.
So that was in the Philippine Islands. Yeah. So I got a citation from the Philippine government, plus the 2 medals, the 2 medals and the 2 from the Philippine government. All told, I got 6 Bronze Stars, which is for these battles that I was in. And like I say, I was a boat commander. I was with Task Force 77 on USS LST 741. Participated in 20 invasions, including the Battle of Leyte Gulf, largest naval battle in history.
Okay.
And I was from the Philippine government, Philippine Liberation Medal, and the Independence Medal with 2 Bronze Stars, and then four Bronze Stars too. My awards and citations was the American Campaign Medal, Asiatic Pacific Campaign Medal with 4 Bronze Stars, World War II Victory Medal, the Philippine Liberation Medal with 2 Bronze Stars, the Philippine Independence Medal, the World War II Medal, and the VFW Medal, and it all amounted to 6 Bronze Stars. So that was shut down 5 Japanese planes, and came home, and I was a commander also of VFW post 5989. So that's about it.
Okay, you were the commander of,
59 VFW post 5989 in 1970.
1970. Okay. Now, when were you discharged?
May 6, 1946,
Okay.
from Lido Beach.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the war was basically over in let's see, August of '45,
Right.
but they kept you on till
Yeah,
May.
I didn't get till May 6, 1945, because I was single, and at that they were discharging all the married men
I see.
first.
Okay.
So all the married men went first, and that's why we had to hang around
Okay.
till May 6th to be discharged.
Okay. You still though you must have had a lot of points.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
right, yeah.
Okay. So you were discharged in Lido Beach.
Lido Beach, 1946,
And
May 6th.
did you take a bus or a train back to Albany, or?
First we came back on a troop transport ship,
Mm-hmm.
and I fit Long Beach.
Okay,
we
Long
came-
Beach.
Long Beach, that's where we came off the ship.
That was California.
Long Beach, California,
Mm-hmm.
and then we got on a train,
Yep.
and it took 4 days to go from Long Beach to Chicago. Then we got on that was 4 days, and then from Chicago to Albany, New York, was one day. We got on a 20th Century Limited, and bang, we were
Okay.
right there in the next one day.
But you actually got discharged from Lido Beach, right?
Lido Beach, right.
Okay.
Yeah, at that time when we came home, we were discharged
Okay.
from Lido Beach, Long Beach, California,
Okay.
May the 6th.
And you got home, and how long had it been since your family had seen you? Did you get
About
any?
3.5 years.
3.5 years. Okay.
Yeah. Before I went shipped overseas, I got a leave,
Mm-hmm.
got a 4-day leave before. Went home,
Uh-huh.
visited with the family, and then went back down to Fort Pierce, Florida.
Okay.
Let me see, did we go to Fort Pierce or New Orleans? I think it was New Orleans. And then we boarded a ship
Okay.
at New Orleans, Louisiana, yeah.
Now, were you able to keep in touch with the family back home through writing
So,
letters? And,
Yeah, V-mail and
Mhm.
stuff like that.
how was the mail service? Did it take a while for you to get letters from home?
Oh yeah, but there was always letters back and forth,
Mm-hmm.
and I kept in touch with all the family, and they used to remark when the V-mails came, this was cut out, that was cut out.
Oh.
There was hardly anything in it,
Uh-huh.
yeah. So,
Now, did you get to see any USO shows at all when you were overseas?
yes, we did Bob Hope,
Oh.
and seen one show, it was in New Guinea. at Bob Hope's show. He
Uh-huh.
came in, we see Bob Hope, yeah.
Okay. Now, once you were discharged, did you stay in touch with any of the guys you were in the service with?
Not really. I went away to service with the guy that I enlisted with,
Uh-huh.
and we were in boot camp together. But he wound up, I wound up on the amphibious corps, and he wound up in the armed guard.
Oh, okay.
So, and as far as the rest of them, and like same thing, I never see anybody aboard ship that I served with.
Okay. So you didn't attend any kind of ships reunions or
No.
anything like
And
that?
I still get the VFW magazine,
Mm-hmm.
and I still look for if there's a reunion.
Uh-huh.
And I get the magazine every month, and to this day there was never no reunion.
Mm-hmm.
But they do see they have some reunions from LSTs,
Mhm.
yeah. But not our ship.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you were able to, once you were discharged, you made use of the GI Bill and
Yeah.
got your engineering degree.
I got my degree, right.
Okay.
And that was including, like I say, I started out, I had an associate degree.
Mhm.
Then I went to night school for 4 years
Mhm.
and got the degree
Okay.
and finished out my work career
Okay.
with the Watervliet Arsenal.
How do you think your time in the service changed or affected your life?
I tell you, it made me a better person and a fondness for love of this country.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I fly in 2 flags out there to this day. And I really love this country and what it's being torn apart right now.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't fight for a country like this,
Mm-hmm.
because when I went into the service, we were all like a family together. Everybody was camaraderie and every other thing. And to see what's happening to this country, so much divisiveness, and even like the House of Representatives cannot rule, and the Senate and our current president, who is duly elected, Trump, I voted for him and I'm going to vote for him if he runs again. But what they're doing to him and criticizing him is a shame.
Mm-hmm.
Attacking our duly elected president and his family and every other thing, criticizing and criticizing. It hurts.
Sure.
It hurts me, but I'm glad that Trump is one tough president, and that's what we need to govern this country.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope he gets reelected again.
Okay. Now, when did you get married?
1956.
Mm-hmm.
I was married for 55 years. 55 years. I just lost my wife 10 years ago.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
And you have 2 daughters?
2 daughters, Jerry Solovsky, she's and Ed Solovsky, and they're retired and live in Florida, in Melbourne.
Mm-hmm.
And my other daughter, Darlene Maloney, she's in Leyte, New York. And we had a tragedy. She lost her husband at the age of 42,
Oh.
so she's a widow.
Mm-hmm.
But she has, from that marriage, there's 2 grandsons.
Oh, good.
2 grandsons.
Good.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you'd like to touch on that
I think
we missed?
that's about it. And like I say, I was post commander. In fact, I was post commander for 2 years because I did 1 year in '69, and then I was duly elected. My year was '70
Mm-hmm.
because that commander hardly showed up. So I always had to run the meeting.
Oh.
So I got that experience. But when I took over in 1970, I was well familiar with how to, run a.
Uh-huh.
But now 5989 used to be just right up the street here, but it's gone. We couldn't hold, after we couldn't hold the membership went down, and we had to revert back and turn the charter back
Oh,
to the national organization. But I am still a member. I switched to 729 in Watervliet, New York. I'm a member there.
mm-hmm.
So, and I'm still in touch with the VFW. Keep track of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your interview.
Yeah, and I got a little note here, which I'd like to end with,
Sure.
and I wrote myself, thank God and Jesus for bringing me home safely in one piece. And I'm a devout Roman Catholic,
Mm-hmm.
and I still go to Mass every week. And things have changed a bit, but I just wanted to reiterate that and thank God for bringing me home in one piece. Thank you, and God bless America.
Okay. And thank you so much for your service.
Thank you for remembering me.